Welcome! It's a great day to be a miner. In today's video, we are building for density. Yes, we are going to combine down some rigs and we're going to build a monster 12 by 3070 full hash rate mining rig, the Master Chief. Without further ado, let's spin that intro. All right. Today we are going to build a 12 by 3070 rig. This is going to be all full hash rate. We're going to pack it into one jumbo rig. Let's stop gabbing. Let's get building. Today we are going to build a 12 by RTX 3070 full hash rate rig. Most of these are pretty much big boy expensive cards that I've accumulated over the past few months, and we're going to put them into one nice big rig. Let's get these things off of here. Let's get the rig on here and let's get building. Let's get into it. All right, here is our rig all set up, all built, ready for GPUs. Let's take a look at this board. This is the Asus Prime Z390P, and as you can see, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 X1 slots and 2 of the elongated X16 slots. And we're going to go ahead and put this splitter here, adapter, into the main X16 slot when we build this out, and that essentially will add 6 additional GPUs into this board. I also have a M.2 to USB PCIe slot adapter in there in case I want to add a 13th card, but that's going to be for future content. We'll see if that actually will run at the same time after we get these extras running on this board. All right, we got the mining rig frame and all the components meticulously built in there and all ready to add GPUs. Let's go over the components first. And first of all, we have 8 of the white Arctic P12 120mm fans on here. These go up to 1800 RPM and provide quite a bit of cooling and have a nice stylish look to them. We have the complete frame is a generic Sluice version 2 12 GPU mining rig frame. Let's look at the components. We're using the Asus Prime Z390 motherboard. It has 6 native slots on there, and we're going to use the 1 to 7 PCIe adapter. For power supplies, we have a 1200 Platinum HP server power supply. I'm running on 120, so that is actually going to be 900 watts of power there. And then I have a EVGA Gold 850 watt ATX, and then I top it off with a HP 750 watt Platinum in the back. So I'm gonna have way too much power, and that's okay. So let's take a look at what else we have in this frame. So again, this is the 12 GPU mining rig frame, dual layer, has 8 fans on the top. I use these special green anodized thumb screws because, man, they're just so handy and they look so much prettier. For the OS, I just have a Silicon Power 128 gigabyte SSD. And then I have, of course, all of my over-the-top cable management. Put some little white sleeving on there, some white sleeving. Oh, and one last thing I did add. And additionally, I added this over-the-top power button right here with the LED lights. Let's see if I can get this thing to focus right here. There it is. And I had to drill out the frame. I had to get 2 or 3 different drill bits. That was an extra 20-minute addition, but it's so much cooler than your standard push button toggle. And then it's conveniently right there on the side, easy peasy. All right, so there it is. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's post it first. Make sure that it hits post on this monitor in the BIOS. Then we're going to plug in the SSD. We're going to go ahead and put a new copy of Windows on there, and then we'll start adding our GPUs one at a time. Let's go. All right, let's see if we get a nice post. So let's start by flipping the switch. Ready, flip. All right, our motherboard lights are on. Let's see if our new power button works. Ooh, it lights up. Oh, it's red. I forgot I ordered red. I thought I ordered blue. It's been a while. It's been sitting there for at least 2 months. So there you go. Let's see if we get a post. All my fans went spinning, so that's good. I'm using two 1-to-4 splitters up underneath of here. See, all 4 fans are coming into this hub, which then runs down into the board for chassis 1 and 1 for chassis 2, and boom, we went right to post. That's a good sign. Next, we'll go ahead and plug in the SSD, and we'll go ahead and get Windows loaded, and then, of course, start adding the GPUs one at a time.
Another heading slowly, a child is slowly taken, and the violence caused such silence. Who are we mistaken? But you see, it's not me, it's not my family. In your head, they are fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their bombs. In your head, they are flying. In your head.
All right, quick intermission here on our build. Ran into a little bit of a pitfall, if you will. There's the motherboard that was in here. This is the Asus Prime Z390P. And now we've switched to the Asus Prime Z270-A. Why did we switch? I got this Asus KO in here and got it installed, and my screen kept flashing. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I started doing troubleshooting. Ended up taking all the components off after taking one by one and trying to segregate the issue, and it is the board itself. And I fried it. I fried the board right down here. Focus right in here. Let's see if it'll focus on my finger. Maybe right in there. There's 2 goldish copper spots. Yeah, that's the traces of the board. And what happened was this was overlapping onto the board. The metal contact right up here that holds these bands onto this server power supply breakout board scraped into the motherboard, and it caused it to short out. Yeah, 3 hours later and we're back. And so since this board has 7 native slots on it, we're no longer going to use this guy. We're going to move to this guy. This is a 1-to-6 PCI splitter adapter instead of the 1-to-7 PCIe splitter adapter. All right, let's get back to building. We already got this one card up, and it's hashing away 62.5 mega hash on 125 watts. Very solid.
Another heading slowly, a child is slowly taken, and the violence caused such silence. Who are we mistaken? But you see, it's not me, it's not my family. In your head, they are fighting
All right, so here we are. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 GPUs slotted in, and all 6 GPUs are installed and showing in Windows and hashing away with no errors finally. And now it is time to use our adapter to move this from a 6 card rig up to a 12 card rig. One other thing I forgot to mention, I am using all version 010X risers. Focus on my riser, there it is. I'm using all of these on the top row, and on the second row I'm using the 009S Plus. So we're going to go ahead, and these are all brand new for the top row. The bottom were actually working pool where I pulled the cards off. So that's what we're doing.
We about to turn it on. Turn it. We about to turn it on.
Another quick side note here is this GPU. It is the MSI Suprim 3070 MSI. This thing is massive. It's so big. It's probably the biggest 3070 that is around. It's so big that I had to flip the back bracket from inside here. It was supposed to be inside of this post, and I had to flip it outside to make enough clearance to get this GPU in here. All right, intermission here, because when we add the 10th card, the splitter will not read properly in Windows, and then all 10 cards will show, but it will disable 2 of the cards, and it will say not enough resources to use these devices. If you want to use this device, you have to disable another device. And so I changed around the ports, and every time I would go back to 9, it would work perfect. As soon as I go to 10, it would do the same behavior in Windows. So next, we're going to switch out the splitter, and we're just going to try this guy just to try it, see if it works. And if it doesn't, then we might try to put a different splitter in a different X16 slot, because just in the name of science, let's see if we can get this to work. And if not, we may have to move to a 12 GPU board. I really hope these will work though. So let's go ahead and do some science. So we tried the other splitter adapter in the same location, and no matter what I do, I can only get 9 of the cards to read. It doesn't even show the 10th. This splitter would at least show the 10th card, but then it would disable the 9th card. So it would disable 2 of the cards and show all 10 in Windows. With this other adapter, I'm only seeing 9 cards. So as you can see, I've switched the ports around and tried moving these guys around in different slots just to see if it would make a difference. And I cannot get more than 9. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave that like it is. Well, I'm gonna take it back down to 9. So take one of these out, and we're gonna put a splitter down here and see if I can get a 10th card or an 11th card or a 12th card. I might be strapped to 9 cards on this board. All right, well, we're gonna have to leave it here for now. We're gonna take a break. This motherboard, I cannot get more than 9 cards to successfully run on it, but I've got a nice brand new motherboard coming that will do 13 GPUs. So this project's gonna have to be on hold for at least a few days while I wait for my new motherboard.
3 weeks later.
All right, it's very important whenever you set up a new mining rig, or a new computer for that matter, to go ahead and have your core components set up and fire it up and test it. Make sure that you get post and you go into BIOS. So I went ahead and slotted in my i7 6700. I put in my CPU cooler. I've got 8 gigabytes of some Viper Snake RAM in there, and I just have it hooked to a power supply. Let's boot it up and see what happens. Okay, that's interesting. Right out of the box, this one's set up in the BIOS to boot on power. Ooh, look at that. That's what the power management's showing with the GPUs. And what it would do is it will show what GPUs are slotted properly into the slots and able to initialize on the post. And then this message says, CMOS date time not set, press F2 or delete to run setup. So let's go ahead and do a setup. And we're going to go in here and we'll set all of our core items up. It does show my memory is reading properly. It shows my i7 6700 in here. And I'll make sure the display is set to onboard graphics, and then also make sure that above 4G decoding is set up. And then we'll go ahead and boot this thing into Windows. Actually, we'll go ahead and put it in here, and then we'll boot into Windows and get that set up, and then we'll start adding our GPUs. All right, so the board's in place, and I've got a couple of these hooked up already and showing Windows is installed. I updated the BIOS and I changed all the BIOS settings. I wanted to just show you what happens when we boot this up. We have just these 2 plugged in here, and it's set to power on. See the 2 green slots that I'm plugged in, showing they are both up and running for those 2 GPUs. And when I unplug just the actual riser but leave the clip plugged in, it will show up there, and it'll show up orange or red, showing that it is present but not initializing fully. So that's a really neat functionality, so that you could pretty much tell when you boot if you're having a riser issue, if the riser's actually gone bad and it's not fully detecting off of whenever you boot into BIOS. That's a really nice setting. All right, it's finally all in there. It's finally all hooked up. This board is amazing so far, but of course we want to long-term test that and see how it does and how the stability stays. But let's go ahead and fire this thing up and take a look at it. The two server power supplies are on. Let's power on the main power. And the BIOS is set to power, to boot on power. So as soon as I turned on the ATX, it did kick it on. If I shut down through Windows, however, oh, check this out. So there is our board, and it's showing that all 12 of the slots I am using are up and green. An interesting thing came up while this is booting. I had an issue, and one of these came up orange. One of the slots came up orange. And let's see if we can focus in close here. If you look really closely in between, right there in the middle, I'll put an arrow on the screen. Right there in the middle, there is a little gash between those two lines. And that was causing it to show up orange when it boots. And the card wasn't actually reading properly in Windows. So I simply switched out the little mini board here. I think it was, yeah, it was on this slot right here. My 9th card. I swapped it out, rebooted, and it came right up in Windows and working now. So let's take a look in Windows. And we're going into Device Manager, and let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 cards. We go over into Afterburner. So there, if I go into Afterburner, I got all 12 3070 full hash rate cards showing, and I have a generic overclock applied to all of -502 on the core, 1200 on the mem. I set the power limit at 75 just as a backup, but then in my bat file, I'll set the absolute core clock. I have a feeling these server power supplies are gonna spool up a bit. I'm running on 120 volt, and I've got a 1200 HP, which will run at 900, and then I've got a 750 HP, and it'll run at 750, and then I also have an 850 EVGA. All right, there she is, Master Chief finally lives, finally, it's complete, it's tuned, it's hashing away, and it just needs to be moved to its final resting spot. There's our nice little Kuman 7-inch screen. We will put a link for this guy down in the description, and then we have an extra long cable running down to the front to the HDMI. And then, of course, we've got our 12 full hash rate 3070 big boy expensive cards, 3 power supplies. Let's take a look at the power let's just take a look at this guy first. So in the software, we are showing 1389 watts, 471 mega hash. That's about 61.7 mega hash per card. And let's look at the wall. And our beautiful box brought to you by Mad Electron Engineering. So there we are at the wall. We're doing about 1650 watts, and that's about 14.5 amps. And that's important because I'm on 120 and I'm using surge strip and everything. And most of those are 15 amp, even though my outlet and breakers are 20 amps. You don't really want to push it much more than that. So it's been a long one. It's been a long journey just to get this one done. And then the fun part, I've got another 12 by 3070 / 3060 Ti full hash rate rig to build. So I'll have another 740 mega hash coming real soon. Well, there you have it. Master Chief lives. She lives. It is a 12 by 3070 full hash rate rig built with the beautiful Asrock Q270 mining motherboard. I also have a full unboxing, review, and build video on this. Make sure to check it out up above. If you're new to mining or you need some help, make sure to join the Misfit Mining Discord. There's always plenty of seasoned vets in there willing to help you out. If you like the video, you know what to do. Smash that like button and subscribe for future content. Thanks for coming along and enjoy the ride. Pew.